You have land, a budget, and you're ready to get your first livestock up and running. You've probably been going back and forth between the same two animals for weeks. Sheep or goats? Both make meat, both make milk, both fit on a small farm. But they're not the same investment, not the same daily grind, and they don't generate the same income. Today I'm settling this with real numbers, not opinions, not gut feelings. We're going head to head across 5 categories: startup cost, feed efficiency, meat income, milk and fiber income, and labor. I'll give you a winner in each round, and at the end, I'll tell you which animal fits your specific situation. Stay until the end. The answer isn't what most people expect. Before the numbers, we need to nail down what we're actually comparing. Because sheep and goats covers a wide range of breeds with very different economics. Sheep. The two most practical choices for a small U.S. farm are Katahdin and Dorper for meat. Both are hair sheep, no shearing required. For milk, East Frisian crosses. Goats, Boer. For meat, the industry standard in the U.S. Nubian or Nigerian dwarf does for dairy. These are the breeds the numbers are based on, not rare exotics, not show animals. The breeds real small farmers are actually running for profit right now. A quality Katahdin or Dorper ewe runs $200 to $400 depending on age and registration. 10 ewes plus a ram puts your animal cost at roughly $2,000 to $4,500. Fencing is your big infrastructure cost. Sheep respect standard woven. Wire in a basic perimeter runs $500 to $1,500 depending on your land. Shelter is minimal. A 3-sided run-in shed handles most weather. Realistic total for a 10-ewe operation, $3,000 to $6,000. Goats look similar on paper. A quality Boer doe runs $250 to $500. Nubian or Nigerian dwarf dairy does with solid milking genetics run $300 to $800. But here's where the math shifts. Fencing. Goats escape. Standard woven wire that holds sheep won't hold goats. Experienced farmers consistently say to budget at least 50% more on fencing than you think you'll need. You're looking at high-tensile electric or heavy-duty cattle panels, pushing fencing cost from $500 to $2,000 or more for the same perimeter. Realistic total for a 10-doe operation, $4,500 to $9,000. Round 1 winner. Sheep. Lower startup cost, simpler fencing. Feed is your biggest ongoing expense, and this is where most beginners get it wrong. Sheep are grazers. They eat grass and pasture plants, and in a good grazing season, they can reach USDA choice quality carcass weights on pasture alone. Your feed bill is basically your land cost. They eat down, follow the grass, and on decent pasture, they don't need much supplemental grain. Goats are browsers. They want weeds, brush, shrubs, bark, not manicured grass. Put goats on overgrown or wooded land, and they'll clear it efficiently. Put them on tidy grass pasture, and they'll spend their time testing your fence to find the brush they actually want, which means more purchase feed. The short version: grassy land, sheep win on feed cost. Brushy or wooded land, goats win because they turn wasteland into income. One area where goats have a real edge for small farms: reproduction. Goats tend to twin and even triplet at higher rates than many sheep breeds, which means faster herd expansion and more animals available for sale per breeding female. More offspring from the same feed investment, that adds up. Round 2 winner. Tie entirely depends on what your land looks like. This one surprises people. Sheep first. At $75 per hundredweight for slaughter lambs, gross annual income per ewe averages around $107. Variable costs, feed, labor. runs $74 to $77 per ewe. Fixed costs average around $13. Net profit in a well-managed operation, roughly $17 to $20 per ewe per year. Low per animal, yes, but use twin frequently and you're selling the lambs, not the mothers. The real sheep meat opportunity in the U.S. right now is ethnic market demand. The Northeast, with large Middle Eastern, Caribbean, and African consumer populations, is a strong market for lamb. Prices are dramatically higher when you sell directly to those communities versus commodity auction. Direct freezer lamb sales can double what you'd get at auction. Goats, boar meat kids sell for $150 to $300 per head, depending on size, breed, and local demand. The key phrase there is local demand. In areas with large Hispanic, Middle Eastern, or Caribbean populations, goat meat, chivan, commands real premiums. In those markets, goats often return more per animal than sheep, and their higher reproductive rates increase total sales volume. But in areas without that ethnic market, the commodity goat market is thin and inconsistent. Sheep have a broader, more established commodity market across the U.S. Round 3 winner. Sheep. See more consistent market access. Goats win if you have direct ethnic market buyers nearby. This round goes to goats. It isn't close. Dairy. Goats have a longer milking season and higher yield than most dairy sheep breeds. A well-managed Nubian doe can produce up to a gallon of milk per day at peak. Alpines average around 2,715 pounds per lactation. Sonnens around 2,702. Nigerian dwarfs are smaller, but their milk averages 6.1% butterfat and 4.4% protein, ideal for artisan cheese and soap. A dairy doe can produce $500 to $1,500 per year in milk value, depending on breed and how you sell it. Raw goat. Milk might go for $10 to $15 a gallon where it's legal. Converted to artisan cheese, that same gallon produces a product worth $30 to $50 retail. The global goat milk products market sits at $11.9 billion in 2025, growing at 5.3% a year. Wool. The honest reality in 2026 is that no one runs a profitable wool operation on a small farm. Shearing costs more than commodity. Wool returns. This is exactly why hair sheep, Katahdin Dorper, have taken over the small farm market. They cut shearing entirely, while still putting quality meat on the rail. The fiber exception. Cashmere and Angora goats for mohair are niche markets with strong pricing, but they need specific breeds, climate conditions, and specialized processing that puts them out of reach for most people starting out. Round 4 winner. Goats. Dairy income is a different game entirely. This round is about your actual daily life, because an animal that looks better on paper but costs you twice the time may not be more profitable once you count your hours. Sheep are the lower maintenance. Animal. University of Minnesota research puts the time requirement at about 2 hours of labor per year per ewe and her offspring on pasture. Meat sheep in a rotational grazing system largely manage themselves between lambing seasons. Docile, they respect fencing, and outside of lambing and health checks, they don't need much hands-on attention. Dairy goats are a different commitment. They need milking twice a day, 12 hours apart, every day. 730 milking sessions a year with no days off. They need to be bred and give birth each year to keep producing. If you travel for work, have an unpredictable schedule, or are running this farm on the side, that daily requirement will test you. Goats are also curious and persistent animals that will check every section of your fence every single day. They'll damage crops, trees, and structures if they get out. Escapes aren't a rare event. They're part of the job. Budget time for that. Round 5 winner. Sheep. Much lower daily labor demand. Final score. Sheep win 3 rounds. Goats win 1. 1 tie. But here's the actual answer. Start with sheep if you have grass pasture, want lower startup costs, have limited time, are selling meat, or just want the simplest possible entry into livestock. Start with goats if you have brushy or wooded land, want to build a dairy income stream, can commit to daily milking, have direct access to ethnic meat markets, or want to sell value-added products. The answer that's working for the most profitable small farms right now: run both. Rotational grazing with sheep and goats side by side maximizes pasture health and benefits both species. Sheep handle the grass. Goats handle the brush. The land gets healthier every year, and income comes from multiple directions instead of one. It was never really sheep versus goats. It's about what your land, your time, and your market can support. Now you have the numbers to work that out for yourself. Drop a comment, Team Sheep or Team Goat, and what's driving your decision. I read everyone. If this helped, subscribe. Real numbers every video. See you in the next one.